Kamala dala jala jivana tala mala Amala tala jala jivana tala mala Kamala Majahu Haripada Nitire Majahu Haripada Nitire Majahu Harimana Vajahure mana Vajahure mana Shinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanaravindaré Shinandanandana Tarahoe Baba Sindure Durlabhama Shavana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Shavana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Tasyare Pada Sevana Tasyare Pujana Sakijana Atmanivedana Pujana Sakijana Atmanivedana Govinda Dasa Vilasyare Govinda Dasa Vilasyare Govinda Dasa Vilasyare Vajahure mana Vajahure mana Vajahure mana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Abhaya Charanara Vindare Abhaya Charanara Vindare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hola Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vajahure mana, Vajahure mana, Shinanda Nandana, Abhaya Charanara Vindare, Shinanda Nandana, Abhaya Charanara Vindare, Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange. Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange. Abhaya Dara Hoye Babo Sindure Dara Hoye Babo Sindure Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Padda Sevana Dasyare Padda Sevana Dasyare Pujana Sakijana Atmana Vedana Pujana Sakijana Atmani Vedana Govinda Dasa Vilasyare Govinda Dasa Vilasyare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Gora Hari Bol, Nitya Gora Hari Bol, Nitya Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gora Hari Bol. This next bhajan is about Lord Ramachandra. You probably all know it. It's very famous. Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram. Ram, Ram, Jagamina Sachu Tere Nam, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram. ही माता तू ही पिता है, तू ही माता तू ही पिता है, तू ही माता तू ही पिता है, तू ही तो है राधा कृष्ण, हे राम हे राम, हे राम हे राम, हे राम हे राम, तू ही अंतर्यामी सबके स्वामी, तू ही अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी, तू ही चरणों में शरदाम, हे राम हे राम, हे राम हे राम, हे राम हे राम, तू ही बिगा दे तू ही सवारे, तू ही बिगा दे तू ही सवारे, तू ही बिगा दे तू ही सवारे, इस जगत सरकार हे राम हे राम, हे राम हे राम, हे राम हे राम, तू ही जगदाता तू विश्वदाता, तू ही जगदाता विश्व विदाता, तू ही जगदाता विश्व विदाता, तू ही सब तू ही शाम, हे राम जग में न सच तेरा नाम, जग में न सच तेरे नाम, हे राम हे राम, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 श्याम तेरे बंशी पुकारे मुझे काम, श्याम तेरे बंशी पुकारे मुझे काम, श्याम तेरे बंशी पुकारे मुझे काम। जमुना किनारे बंसी बात की चाहिए जमुना किनारे बंसी बात की चाहिए किससे कहीं नहीं नहीं कहो कृष्ण कन्हैया किससे नहीं नहीं कहो कृष्ण कन्हैया श्याम का दीवाना तो सरबीता श्याम का दीवाना तो सरबीता लोग कारण मेरा कोयो निभाना लोग कारण मेरा कोयो निभाना हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare न जाने बंसी सुनिया किसको बुलाए कौन जाने बंसुरिया किसको बुलाए जिसके मन भाई वो उसकी तो गाए जिसके मन भाई वो उसके गुण गाए कौन नहीं न बंसी की दाम का गुलाम कौन नहीं न बंसी की धुन का गुलाम राधा का भी श्याम वो जो मेरा का जी श्याम राधा का भी श्याम वो जो मेरा का भी श्याम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Shamalal Kinayalal Ki Jai. You want to sing this? You sure? Shri Govardhana Maharaj, Maharaj, Tere Mate Mukta Viraj Rayo. Tere Mate Mukta Viraj Rayo. Tobe Pan Chade, Tobe Phul Chade, Tobe Pan Chade, Tobe Phul Chade, Tobe Pan Chade, Tobe Phul Chade, Tobe Pan Chade, Tobe Phul Chade. Chade dud ki dar adar, Tere Mate Mukta Viraj Raho. Shri Govardhana Maharaj, Maharaj, Tere Mate Mukta Viraj Raho. Tere gala mein khanda soi raho, Tere gala mein khanda soi raho, Tere gala mein khanda soi raho. गल में लखनला सोई रहो तेरे चंकिया विशाल विशाल तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज गावो तेरे श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज गाओ तेरे काना कुंडल सोई रहो 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 तेरे गोदी पे हीराल हलाल तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रहो श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रहो श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रहो तेरे साथ कुश की परिक्रमा 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 चाकुलेश्वर है विश्राम विश्राम तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज करो हरि बोल महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज लाओ जी को श्री गोवर्धन महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज लाओ Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. If by chance you parked your car in the fire lane of the water district next door, your car will be towed away and you'll have to pay $400 to get it back. So if you go out tonight and you don't see your car where you parked it, you know that it's going to set you back $400 for parking in the fire lane. And believe me, the police are going to come. They've warned us. They're not going to tolerate that anymore. So there's plenty of parking spaces at the Pine Lake Church right down the street. There are other parking spaces at the library, at the City Hall. Don't park in the neighborhoods here. You'll get tickets. But Pine Lake has 300 parking spaces. That's largely enough for our crowd tonight. So please, if you parked in the fire lane next door at the water district, move it immediately, because I don't want to see you lose $400. That's a lot of hours of work. Hare Krishna. And the time you have to spend to get the car back. You probably won't be able to get it back tonight. Yeah. Huh? That's the fire lane. No, not everything. No. Against the fence is okay. You park facing the temple, right? That's okay. That's a legal parking space. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur. So tonight, the subject is about the cycle of suffering and how to free oneself from it. So we see a lot of suffering in the United States, in the Caribbean, in Syria, in Iraq, in Sudan, in Ukraine, in the Philippines, in Pioneer Square, in Detroit, in Washington, D.C. So we see suffering everywhere. It could even be in our own house, in our own family. So tonight we're going to understand what this cycle of suffering is, how it is caused, and how to get free from it. Last week we discussed how Lord Brahma created the 5 types or 5 principles of ignorance by which a person stays in this cycle of suffering and they can't get out, birth after birth. So we'll just go over those 5 principles right away so that we remember what we discussed last week. Okay, turn it down. Yeah. The first principle is we forget our identity. We forget that we have an eternal soul, and we think we're only this body. Because of that, we develop fear of death and a sense of death and fear of it. And number 3, we develop anger after frustration. We see this all the time. There's crimes of passion. There are all kinds of road rage, all kinds of criminal activity or murderous activity takes place because of rage, anger, and then it comes after frustration. And number 4 is the sense of false ownership. Everything actually belongs to Krishna. Nothing actually belongs to us. But if we think something belongs to us, we develop a strong sense of possession, false possession, and our tendency is to want to hold on to it forever. But we can't hold on to anything forever. So as these things gradually deteriorate, we become anxious and frustrated. And then finally, it's the material conception of life. The material conception of life is, if we believe we're only the body and not a soul, then we think that the real purpose of life is to please the body. It's called sense gratification. So if we engage in our whole life in sense gratification, we become very frustrated because you can never satisfy the senses as much as you actually want. So here we have 5 types of ignorance that Lord Brahma created so that people can stay in the cycle of suffering and tolerate it. They actually think it's normal to get old, to get sick, and die. It's part of life, they say. Where actually it's not normal. There's something evil about it. Because our soul is eternal, but the temporary body is not eternal. So when we associate our identity with the body, we suffer whatever the body suffers. Now, that is called ignorance. It's just like if you have a car and there's an accident and the car gets damaged but nothing happens to you, you get angry. You get out and say, "Hey, why'd you hit my car? I was just driving right and you came in," and you get upset. Although you didn't get hurt, but because of strong identification with the car, whatever happened to this car affects you. In the same way, we are not this body, but if we identify with the body out of ignorance, whatever happens to the body affects us. Like, for example, let me ask you all a question, and I'll see if you can answer. If someone insults you, where does it hurt? Like, for example, if you have a toothache, you go to the dentist, and the dentist says, "What's wrong?" You say, "It's this tooth over here, right down there. It hurts like anything." You can point to where it hurts. Now, if someone insults you, where does it hurt? Can anyone answer? What? Where's the ego? You know where your tooth is, right? You know where your finger is if you hurt it. You know where your arm is. So where's your ego?
It's a subtle...
It's a subtle what?
It's a subtle body.
A subtle body? Where's your subtle body?
It's not physical.
Okay, so you can't really point to it, right? All right. Now, is it the real ego or the false ego?
False.
So it's something that doesn't exist. That's where you got hurt. You see? So the whole thing is false. There is a real ego and a false ego. Ego means I am. Real ego means I am the eternal servant of Krishna. That's a solid thing. It can never change. It can never be taken away from you. But if you say, I am American, that can be taken away from you. Right? If you don't have your green card, you just have an H-1B visa, Trump can cancel it anytime he wants. You have to go back to India or go back wherever you came from. So you see, the identification of oneself as I am the eternal servant of Krishna. That can never be taken away because Krishna is eternal and your soul is eternal. It's a solid thing. It's real. That's called the real ego. And the false ego is, I am American, I am Indian, I am this, I am that. That false ego is false. It doesn't really exist. But if you become convinced of this false identification and someone insults your false ego, you're ready to kill him. All for something that's false. It's not real. Okay, so that's the material conception of life. It's triggered or it's driven by the false ego. It's driven by the misconceptions that I am the body and that the goal of the body and the goal of life is to please the body. So, and when you can't get that pleasure, the pleasure that you want, there's divorce, there are arguments, there's separation, and you have to find another victim for your sense gratification. That's material life. There's no love. So, the next point, next slide, is the actual cycle of suffering. Now, this is what we're going to talk about today and how to get out of it. The cycle of suffering begins from avidya, ignorance. And the ultimate ignorance is thinking, I am this body. When this ignorance seizes our mind, it usually happens at puberty. At puberty, what happens? The subtle things happen. The desires we had unfulfilled from the past life awaken in our mind. It's by the law of karma. And all of a sudden, a young girl, a young boy finds himself or herself attracted to things that were unfinished in their past life. They don't know where it comes from, and it's an attack. It overwhelms them. So, avidya is something inherent. It's coming from previous lives. It's coming from previous karma. From that avidya, there is bijam. Bijam means the seed of sinful desire. What is that seed of sinful desire? Well, it's a seed. If you water it, and you plant it and water it, it'll grow. So the way to plant it and water it is to associate with things in the mode of passion. What is something in the mode of passion? Rock music, rap music, Bollywood dancing music. All these things are passionate. They're full of movement. They're full of seeming excitement. And a lot of body and a lot of suggestiveness, a lot of suggestions in the body movements of sense gratification. If you ever heard songs like you have some artists that sing these songs, it's all about sense gratification, the songs. You know, I love you, I don't love you, you love me, you don't love me, and so forth. Pyar, pyar, pyar. So, we have to understand what's going on. These are all inducements. These are all attractions to feed, to plant and feed the seed with water, the water of nonsense, of misconception. And what happens? The seed grows through three subtle psychological processes called thinking, feeling, and willing. Before any action, three psychological steps have to be traversed. First is thinking, oh, it would be very nice to know this person. Number two, you feel, oh, if I know that person, they must have very soft skin, or they speak nicely, and they'll make me feel very good. And number three, if I don't meet this person, if I don't get to know this person, if I don't conquer this person, I'll never be happy. See? So it went from thinking, feeling to willing. Willing means you made a strong, willful desire that you have to do this to be happy. And then you act. So, as soon as we act, some sinful action takes place. And the first result of that is called aparabdha, unmanifest sinful reaction. It doesn't happen right away. It's just like if my friend here, Krishna, is sitting there, I'm sitting behind him, and while he's listening intently to the class, I put my hand in his pocket and take his wallet. Now, he doesn't know. He was so intently listening, he didn't notice me take his wallet. And I go away, and he doesn't notice it for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 hours later. And then he says, what happened to my wallet? So he calls up the temple, Prabhu, did you find the wallet? And we said, no, we didn't find the wallet. What? I said, what happened to my wallet? Maybe it's in my car. So I'll look in his car. It's not in his car. Then I'll come to the parking lot, look in the parking lot. He'll look in the shoe room. It's not there. And then finally he realizes something happened. I don't know. Maybe I left it somewhere. Or maybe someone stole it. See? So he reports it to the police. He reports where he thinks it happened, in the Hare Krishna temple. Or in the parking lot. I might have dropped it, but it might be somebody pickpocketed me. And then later, there's a police report. And 5-10 years go by. And one night, the person who stole it gets drunk and starts talking about, ha ha ha, I stole Krishna's wallet. And then someone reports it to him. Then he goes to the police and they come and arrest that person. 10 years later, for 10 years that person got away with it. They thought that no one found out. But eventually the truth comes out and the karma catches up to him. So that's called aparabdha. Okay, they have to keep quiet. So, this aparabdha, this unmanifest sinful reaction takes place. But we don't know about it. We don't know about it until it becomes parabdha, manifest. That could take years. That could take 1 or 2 lifetimes. And it's always confusing because we probably forgot what we did in the past. We can't see the correlation between cause and effect. But when it comes, the sinful reaction comes, then there's dukkha, suffering. And after everything, even after the suffering, there's still the residue of the inclination to commit more sinful activity. Because you remember the great feeling you had, that thief remembers the great feeling he had when he stole the wallet and got away with it. Getting away with it and not getting caught right away is part of the law of karma. Because of that, you suffer more later on when you get caught. You see? So the kutam is the inclination to sin more. And then the cycle begins again. So this is going on birth after birth, life after life. And we don't understand it exactly. That's why we're explaining it today. So next, the 5 principles of ignorance keep the living entity in the body in order to go through the cycle of suffering. And this cycle begins with ignorance, which leads to desires for sense gratification. Such desires are compared to seeds, bijam, which will lead to sinful actions. The preliminary steps of thinking, feeling, and willing, or willing means the conviction or strong determination, I must act, precedes sinful action. There are 4 pillars of sin: meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit sex, which give rise to the desire for profit, distinction, and adoration. So illicit activities, especially illicit connections, give rise to 3 concomitant factors: the desire for profit, the desire for distinction, and eventually a desire to be worshipped. In fact, Mao Zedong's wife said once, better than sex is worship. In other words, the feeling of exhilaration that one feels by being worshipped is better than even gross sense gratification, because it's a subtle sense gratification that's extremely powerful, you see. So, what happens? A person may see an advertisement for a casino and thinks, oh, I may have fun and also win money by going to the casino. And they also say, Makotia Casino is going to give away this week $45,000. Everyone's going to be a winner. Of course, that's a lie. And the people hear that and they get enticed by it. And they think, I may have fun, because there's always free shows, there's the excitement of the gambling, and I might win money. So then he feels how good it would be to have fun and actually win money. And then he strongly desires or wills, he must go to the casino to be happy. In fact, I saw this recently. I went to this nursery to buy something, and the owner of the nursery is a friend of mine. While we were talking, he received a phone call from someone, and it was a friend of his. And the friend of his was inviting him that night to the Mukilteo Casino. And he said, yeah, man, I have such a good time. Every time I go there, I'm going to come. You see? This is nothing strange. This happens all the time. So next he feels how good it will be to have fun and win money. He strongly desires and wills he must go to the casino to be happy. Thus, he goes to the casino, engages in gambling, which is a sinful activity. Intoxication, because that's part of going to the casino. Meat eating, yeah, they have all kinds of, sometimes in these casinos they have 4, 5, 6 different restaurants, each one offering different types of food. And obviously there are great possibility for illicit connections. The casino is the temple of the 4 pillars of sin: meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit connections. Next. The sinful action will result in sinful reactions, which begin as unmanifest reactions called aparabdha karma. As time passes, the unmanifest reaction becomes manifest, parabdha karma. This leads to suffering, dukkha. All suffering is due to sinful reactions from the previous lives and this life. After suffering and eventually death, the sinful disposition, the sinful tendency, called kupam, remains in the subtle body. You can't get rid of it. Just like I was reading once an article of a man who had a love affair with Mata Hari. I don't know if you ever heard of Mata Hari. She's not an Indian. She was it's a lady from Holland who was a World War I, I think, spy. And she was a very beautiful lady, and she would have affairs. It's called a honey trap with German officers, and get them to reveal secrets, and then she would give it to the Allies. And she actually I think she went both ways, sharing information both ways. And one man had an affair with her, and now he was 90 years old. She had already died 40 years before. And someone was interviewing him, and he said, yes, every night I dream of Mata Hari. You see? 40 years after she died, maybe 70, 80 years after his affair, he's still dreaming about it. That's called kutam, the sinful disposition. It's still in the mind. He can't get it out. And it'll go into the subtle, it's in the subtle body, and it'll go into the next life, that sinful disposition, and it'll be reawakened, and again he'll start the cycle of suffering. It's a very subtle, nasty thing. Unless we understand this, we can't get out of it. It's impossible to get out unless we understand and have the help of a bona fide devotee, a pure devotee of Krishna. So this kutam, this disposition of sin, remains in the subtle body. This means that although one has suffered, there still remains the attraction in the subtle mind for sense gratification, which will result in more sinful actions in the next life. Thus, the cycle of suffering continues from one life to the next. As long as one is ignorant about his or her identity, that's the next one, as the eternal servant of Krishna, he is sure to act wrongly and remain entangled in material contamination under the tight knot of the false ego due to ignorance. Now, this false ego is the false identification of oneself with the body and all the circumstantial identities of the body. I am a Western Washingtonian. I am gay. I am rich. My parents come from India, but I am an American. And so forth. These are all false designations, you see. And as long as those false designations linger in the mind, one remains a victim of the 5 types of ignorance that make a person convinced that in life there has to be suffering. It's just part of life. And what is the suffering? Birth, death, old age, and disease. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosana Darshanam. And these things are actually unnecessary. They're not part of life. They're only related to the body, not to the soul. But as long as we identify with the body, these things affect us. They're destructive. They decimate us, right? And we don't know what to do. And then finally we just say, it's part of life. I have to die. See? That is the grossest ignorance. In fact, there's only one thing worse than that, and that is to think, if I do meditation, I'll become God. That's even worse. That's even worse, because that's the ultimate ignorance. If I do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, I'll become Bhagavan. See? That is the worst ignorance. So the false ego keeps a person entangled in the cycle of suffering. By the misconceptions of the false ego, a person's actions come under the control of the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. This is comparable to a thief being caught by the police and sentenced to jail by a court. As soon as we're under the influence of sattva, rajas, and tamas, we're in jail. And you can't get out. There's no parole. There's no period of sentence. It's forever. Unless you meet a genuine devotee of Krishna. Genuine devotee. It doesn't mean some pundit. Most of the pundits do puja for money. Therefore, they cannot liberate you from the cycle of suffering. They themselves are not liberated. How can they liberate you? You see. You have to meet a genuine devotee. And genuine devotees are very rare to meet because they have no desire to advance materially. Their only desire is to teach and give an example of pure Krishna consciousness. Like Narada Muni. He was an example. He is an example, he's still alive, of a pure devotee. Such persons can liberate you. And if you read the history of Narada Muni, he's liberated hundreds and thousands of people. He liberated Valmiki Muni. Valmiki Muni was a hunter. He was hunting, killing animals and eating them. And Narada Muni was able to convince him not only to give it up, but to become one of the greatest devotees of Lord Ramachandra and write his biography. You see? The power of a pure devotee. He can change Adama into Uttama. The worst person, Adama, into Uttama, the best person. That's the power of a pure devotee. Now, not many people have that power. Srila Prabhupada had that power. I was an Adama. I'm not an Uttama, but he convinced me to give up my Adama, my low-class behavior. Meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit connections. When he came to America, he was thinking, I'm going to tell the Americans, give up meat eating, intoxication, and so forth, and they're going to say, thank you, Swami, now you can go back to India, we're not interested. He was convinced that was going to happen, but when he started preaching, some young people came to him and said, Swami, we're interested in your philosophy. So when and at one point after some time, when he started the first temple in New York City, that you can visit that, it's a small storefront in the Lower East Village, Greenwich Village of New York. One day, after about a month or two, the devotee said, oh, by the way, Swami, are there any rules? Because he didn't give them any rules. He just was feeding them prasadam and speaking Bhagavad Gita, having kirtan, a lot of prasadam. So he said, oh yes, there are. I will write them down for you. So when he wrote them down, 10 rules, they looked at it, they all had a dour look, and they said, oh my God, we shouldn't have asked him. Because he said, you have to wake up early every morning, take a bath, you have to come to Mangal Arati, you have to be in the class every morning. You have to do the same You have to do the same thing at night, and all day you go out chanting and distributing books and preaching. And they said, we should not have asked that. It's crazy. We have to do this, because they were all hippies, right? They were regulated by unregulated life. They were regularly unregulated, right? And here it was a very strict 24-hour-a-day regulation. You see, that's the difference. By the way, we are going to start a program very soon to help homeless people, because this is a big problem, right? Now, the homeless people are regulated to be unregulated, right? They can't follow rules and regulations. They don't have any self-discipline. So in February, we're waiting to get the permission from the Seattle Center. We're going to do a festival called Compassion, where we connect ordinary people, governmental institutions, and all different types of organizations that help homeless people with the homeless in an act of compassion. Now, it's not that they have no connection to these people, but this is a real connection. And we're going to give alternatives and ways and means for homeless people to get out of homelessness, or at least be taken care of in a compassionate way and not be left on the streets. Keep your eyes and ears open. This is going to be, if we are able to pull it off, it'll be a big thing. And we will eventually build small, self-sufficient villages for homeless people. Obviously, there'll be a selection at first of homeless people who really want to get out of homelessness. And then later on, we'll deal with all the other degrees of homelessness, even the helpless cases. So, what is the purpose? The purpose is to elevate people. And so the philosophical basis is you cannot really get a person to be regulated as long as they're in the modes of tamas and rajas. They have to come up at least to sattva guna, goodness, to learn to be regulated, to learn to be clean, to learn something. You can't even learn anything if you're passionate and ignorant. See? So American society today has created too many places of passion and ignorance, like casinos, like sports stadiums, like bars. In fact, a friend of mine was telling me today, he said, Prabhu, I want to help you. He said, because when I was working in downtown Seattle near the Uwajimaya, he said, every day I would wait for the bus to take me home. And across the street from me, right across the street from Uwajimaya, was a bar. And from 6 o'clock on, all the homeless people came there after panhandling in downtown Seattle. And they would spend all their money drinking, getting drunk and fighting with each other. And the police would come. And he said, I saw this thing and it hurt my heart. I didn't know what to do. There are a lot of people that don't know what to do. Even the government doesn't know what to do. In fact, the city of Seattle has allocated $1 billion of their budget to try and help the homeless people, and it'll fail. I'll tell you right now. Lyndon Johnson, in the 1960s, spent $30 billion, and it failed. $30 billion. They built big apartment houses, and low-income or no-income people could live there. They have everything they need. The places fell apart, and they became jungles of drug addiction and crime. Yeah. The only model that I think will work is the small village, the Gandhian idea of a small self-sufficient village. There's a whole group that built a big, beautiful building with modern architecture in Washington, D.C. It costs millions of dollars, but they can only house maybe 100 people. They spend millions and millions of dollars. But you can build a small village for maybe $350,000 for enough for 100 people. Anyway, I won't go into the details of it. We have a plan and we're going to try and do it. So, unless you raise a person from ignorance to passion and then to goodness, you cannot actually help them, and they won't actually accept the help. That's why all these programs where they spend billions of dollars, they don't actually succeed. If the program was successful, how come there's more homeless people today than there were before? And it's increasing, you see, because they don't understand the science of education, the pedagogic science. It's a science, how to educate a person. But you don't educate them just to be an IT guy. The person can be an IT guy and have all the bad habits. But the danger is he's got a lot of money now. He's more dangerous with a lot of money. You say he or she is more dangerous with a lot of money because they proliferate this idea and they glorify it, and people think, oh, I got to be an IT guy, then I can, smoke, drink, philander, do all the good things of life. So, education without character is useless. It just creates a society of uncontrollable people. And if they have a lot of money, they can do a lot of damage. So, real education is building character, building up a moral fiber in a person, so they know what is right and wrong, and they stick to the path of righteousness. And hopefully they develop spiritual qualities. Aman yitvam adam yitvam himsa santirarjavam acharya pasamam sucham staryam atma vinigraha indiyarte suvairagyam anahankara evacha janma mityu jaravya dukadosana darshanam. These are the 20 points of knowledge. Real knowledge, not junk knowledge. Darwinism, Freudianism, Marxism, gay lifestyle. That's junk knowledge. This is real knowledge. But who is going to teach this? Everyone is baffled by material knowledge, and they ignore completely the spiritual knowledge. Therefore, they're highly educated, but they act like dogs and hogs in their personal life. Is that the future of society? Look what's happening. All over the United States, there's violence. Nature is going wild because of sinful activities of the people, not because of global warming. It's because of sinful activities of the people. And we just read, a person suffers because of sinful activities, and a society suffers because of massive sinful activities. So there has to be a plan to help humanity. And you start one by one. First, you cross the bridge, then you can help someone else cross the bridge. But if you don't cross the bridge, how can you help someone else cross the bridge? It's not possible. Therefore, you have to have at least a core group of people who are regulated for spiritual advancement. That doesn't mean you can't work, that doesn't mean you can't take care of your family, but you have to be regulated for spiritual advancement. Everybody in this room has at least 2 to 4 hours every day. If you want to allocate that time, if you give up junk engagements during the day, you have at least 2 to 4 hours for spiritual life. I know this. I know from my own life. You have at least 2 to 4, even if you work. I've worked for so many years. I always had at least 2 to 4 hours every day for spiritual life. Right? But if you waste that time talking on a cell phone, hello, how are you? Hey, everything's okay, fine, good. I'll see you later on, all right. Tweet, what are you doing now? I'm eating hamburger. Oh, I love hamburgers. Where'd you get the hamburger from? Oh, I got it. Oh, okay, I'll go there and get the hamburger. All nonsense. All complete nonsense, you see? And it's just a waste of time. So the one precious thing we have is time. And if you waste that, that's the greatest loss. It's worse than losing money. So now, how to get out of this cycle of suffering, that's the subject next week. You come back next week and I'll tell you. You have to be regulated. Knowledge, like wealth, is built up little by little. It doesn't happen, it's not like one big shot of penicillin and all of a sudden you have knowledge. No, it's incremental. And you have to be able to allocate the time to incrementally develop knowledge, just like you incrementally develop spiritual knowledge, just like you incrementally develop wealth, or you incrementally develop a disease. It all happens incrementally. It doesn't happen right away. So knowledge requires regular attendance of Krishna Katha and Atma Tattva Katha. So thank you very much. Are there any questions anyone has? Yes.
You mentioned global warming.
Yes.
Isn't global warming because of our sinful activities?
Yeah, I explained this 2 weeks ago. The pacification of nature. Prabhupada speaks about it. It's possible to pacify nature, to encourage her to cooperate with us. All we have to do is act righteously, follow the principles of Dharma, and nature will cooperate with you. In the time of Krishna, for example, in the time of Rama, there was no sickness, there was no death in Ayodhya. A son wouldn't die before his father. Everyone was happy because Lord Ramachandra was a good king. He was a righteous king. He was a king, but he lived like a sadhu. He was always kind. He acted like a father, not like a dictator, right? And people were happy, and nature cooperated. In the time of Krishna, nature cooperated. Nanda Maharaj had 900 million cows. When Krishna was born, he gave away 2 million cows to the Brahmins. Each one had gold-plated horns and necklaces of diamonds and emeralds and rubies and pearls and beautiful silk cloth. He gave away. Each one was worth millions of dollars. And he gave away 2 million of them. Imagine what wealth he had. He didn't have to use Monsanto seeds, and he didn't have to use NPK fertilizer, because the cows were so happy they would drip milk on the land, and the land became fertile by the milk of the cows. You see? So it was a different world. Why? Because people were following the principles of Dharma. Why? Because they were inspired by their leader, by Lord Ramachandra or Lord Krishna. Also, later on, later on, is Lord Yudhisthira Maharaj. He also was a pious king. There was no mishaps in society, right? But when you have impious people who are leaders, the people become impious. They're encouraged to eat meat, gamble, philander, and so forth, and there's disaster all the time. So you're right. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, so we have some quick announcements here. We want to thank Bhargavi Poduri on the occasion of her happy birthday, and she, I guess, her family are sponsors of the feast today. Thank you very much. After the arti, we'll give you a gift as well as blessings of Radha and Krishna. And September 30th, Saturday, we're going to celebrate Dussehra Ramchandra Vijayotsava. So please come. It'll be a grand celebration. And Kartik month begins October 5th when we have our Damodar Astakam. We remember the special, very, very intimate and loving exchange between Krishna and his mother, who tied up Krishna for being a naughty boy. And it's surcharged with nectar, this pastime. So in Vrindavan, for almost 1 month, the devotees relish the nectar of that relationship between Mother Yasoda and Krishna. And we have a special thing that we're going to do. We have deity of Krishna and Mother Yasoda. If you like, you can invite us to your house. We will perform Damodar Astakam prayers and tell the katha and do kirtan. We'll have a good time. We'll go house by house, whoever wants to invite us, for 1 month. So you can sign up. So this is a very special pastime. It touches the heart. You see the level of love Mother Yasoda had for her son Krishna. It's very, very special. It's very emotional, and it's laced with beautiful bhajan and beautiful poetry and a beautiful vision in the mind, right? Instead of seeing Matahari in the mind, you see Yasoda Mai and Krishna. And now you'll take that to your next life, which will be the last life. You go back to Godhead, with that vision in your mind. Okay, then the Diwali festival of India in the temple is October 19th, Thursday. And then October 21st at the Seattle Center, where we are part of the Festal program. They are advertising it for us. It's called Diwali Lights of India. We're going to have a grand festival. We had about 7,000 people last year. We're hoping to get a lot more this year. Please come. It's tremendous entertainment. We have professional entertainment. A Rajasthani group from India is going to perform, and very first-class performances from the Seattle area. And then October 20th, so that weekend, 19th, 20th, 21st, October 20th is Friday. We have Govardhan Puja, and on Sunday evening also, Govardhan Puja. Govardhan is the magic mountain that satisfies the desires of everyone, because it's non-different than Krishna. So we're going to celebrate Govardhan. It's a wonderful celebration, Friday and Sunday night. And we have an additional sponsor tonight, Ankit Shah. So Ankit Shah and Bhargavi Poduri, please come after the arti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Bola, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bola Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hey Bola Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala 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 Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hey bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Bolo Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Bol, Hari Bol. Nita Gola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Bol, Hari Bol. Gaura Premanande ki jai. Stop it. Just stop playing with it. Hadi Hadaye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. Hadi Hadaye Nama. Hadi Hadaye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Bolo Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Hare Hare Rama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hare Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Bolo Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Shimad Sudha. Gopala Govinda Ram Shimad Sudha. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Hare Hare Rama Krishna Yadavaya Namah. Hare Hare Rama Krishna Yadavaya Namah. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hare Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. 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 Bhagavata Gita, Bhagavata Gita. Bolo Bhagavata Gita, Bhagavata Gita. Bolo Bhagavata Gita, Bhagavata Gita. Hey, bolo Bhagavata Gita, Bhagavata Gita. Bolo Hare Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram. Bolo Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hey, bolo Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Bolo Ram Ram Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Bol Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Nitai Gora Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Bol Hare Bol. Nitai Gora Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Premanande ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Nitai Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Praladayane Praladayane Hiranyakashipu Bhaksha Shilatam Kanakalaye Uttam Singha Paraton Singha Yato Yato Dhyamita Chon Singha Bahina Singha Dayena Singha Narashinamadin Salanam Papade Tavakara Kamala Pare Nakam Atuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Sadhuvinda Keshavadisa Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadeshare Jaya Jagadeshare Jaya Jagadeshare Prabhakara Kamala Pare Nata Asuta Singha Dalita Hiranyakashipu Sadhuvinda Keshavadisa Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadeshare Jaya Jagadeshare Jaya Jagadeshare Keshavadisa Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadeshare Jaya Jagadeshare Jaya Jagadeshare Keshavadisa Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadeshare Jaya Narasingade Jaya Narasingade Jaya Narasingade Jaya Narasingade Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Nita Gora Hari Bol Nita Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nita Gora Hari Bol Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki Jai Jayom Vishnupad Paramanza Parajikachasta Tarasatarashi Shishimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Harivilas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samkunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of the Lord. All glories to the sum of the Lord. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Haribo. So tonight we want to also thank Krishna Gudimenda and his good wife Prasanna Krovidi. They have donated $501 on the occasion of Akshara's birthday. Akshara is a wonderful young devotee, very highly accomplished in singing and dancing and many other Krishna arts. So we wish them, and wish her especially, all success in all her endeavors. Hare Krishna. So we have present tonight for Akshara, for Bhargavi Poduri, and for, who else? There's another birthday. Who was the other birthday? Anyway, there are 3 birthdays tonight. Please come.
I think Yamuna and Mayapur also. Mayapur today, I guess.
Oh yeah, Yamuna Devi. Yamuna Devi also gets a present tonight. It's her birthday. It's Mayapur's birthday also. So Mayapur, Yamuna, Bhargavi, and Akshara, please come to the, first of all, come up front and get Radharani's mercy. Then we'll go to the back and get a present for you. So come over here and get the mercy, Mayapur. Oh, okay.
There is someone else, Sunday speech sponsor, Ankit Shah's birthday.
Oh, Ankit Shah also, birthday. So can they all come? Ankit, Bhargavi, Yamuna, and Akshara. Ankit, yes. Just wait 2 minutes. You come, bring Ankit over here. Haribo. Please get Radharani's mercy, and then we're going to give you all a gift. Don't do that. And we have a birthday cake also, so for everyone. So let's get a candle and a lighter for the birthday cake. So Hare Krishna, we have a special sweets for all the birthdays and for the kids. So where is Ankit? Where is Akshara? Where's Yamuna?
This is made from the cow's milk.
Where is everybody who's having a birthday? They all come over here And these are sweets made with milk from our farm, ahimsa milk, and made by who? Made by Krishna Prestaya. So, where are the birthday people? Oh, is this Ankit?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wait a minute. First of all, let's chant Hare Krishna. And we have, let's see, Ankit. We have Akshara. We have Yamuna. We have we have Mayapur, and who else? There's somebody else, right? Okay. So, Akshara, where's Akshara? Okay. Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna, dear Ankit, Mayapur, Akshara, Yamuna. Anybody else? Hare Shri, Hare Krishna to you. Haribol, Haribol. Okay, so now, here Mayapur, here Ankit.
It's okay. And you're facing your back.
This is where else? Where else? This is for Akshara. Where's Yamuna? There. Where's Yamuna? Okay, and now for all the kiddies.
Okay, we're gonna break them.
Okay. Wait. We got plenty here. Time, take your time. Whoa, there he is. Anybody else?
She's right here.
Oh, sorry. Anybody else? Yes.
She already got it. Take it. Okay.
Anybody else?
We'll have him give her a flower.
Here.
Dipti also, because we're gonna give him to people.
What?
Give him dipti. Okay, we're gonna have Maya for distribute them. Give one to Hari. Give one to Hari. He gets one.
Happy birthday, Hari.
Okay, call it. Kupi amaksu.
Okay, you give him out.
Okay.
And whoever has a birthday, please come to the back to the store. We're going to give away the store tonight.
2 मिनट बोल रहे 2 मिनट